What's going on, guys? It's Krause here. Welcome back to episode number 2 of the bike review series. Today we're going to be reviewing none other than one of the most favorite bikes that I own. You might have guessed it already. We're going to be reviewing the Canyon Stitched CFR Trial. Let's get into it. We're going to be covering everything that you guys would want to know about the bike, so I've gone ahead and broken it up into 5 different topics. First up, we're going to talk about the specs and the price. Secondly, we're going to get out the weight scales and weigh this thing to see how much it truly weighs. Next up, we'll be putting this thing through a series of drop tests to see how dialed it is. And then we're going to take this thing out for a ride so you guys can see it in action and I can get some tricks with it. And to wrap things up, guys, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I like about the bike and perhaps more importantly, some of the things that I dislike about the bike. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Let's get started. Starting with the specs, something that really sets this bike apart from its competitors is you are getting a fully carbon fiber frame and a full carbon fiber fork, therefore making the bike extremely light and extremely strong. Another really cool feature of the bike has to be that this one in particular is actually in collaboration with Fabio Whitmer. I'm sure a lot of you at home know about him. So you're getting this very cool color scheme on it, the white fading into the black, and it's matched with these cool gold accents, and you are actually getting a bunch of his signatures around the bike. So if we have a look under the seat, you can see a nice signature right there. We look at the stem here, another signature there. And if you come around to the front, guys, as you can see, another signature right there. So when it comes to these specific sort of bikes, guys, perhaps one of the most important components that it comes with has to be the brakes. Let's take a look. So what you're getting on this bike, guys, is the Magura MT7 brakes. As you can see, I've got the lever on this side here, which looks quite nice. And on this side, I do have a Shimano one. That's simply just because I did break my other Magura lever. Let's have a look at the calipers. As you guys can see, these things come with some pretty impressive calipers. Again, Magura branded, of course. And you are getting these massive disc rotors, 203 mil, I believe. Absolutely huge, incredible stopping power on this thing. You're getting 24-inch wheels on this thing, DT Swiss branded. And for the tires, guys, you're getting these pretty cool Continentals. If you actually have a look, you can see this outer rim around the whole tire at nighttime with lights on. These things glow in the dark. Pretty nice feature, definitely looks cool on video. One thing we cannot forget to talk about, guys, has to be the hub noise on this thing. So you are getting DT Swiss 350 hubs. Definitely not anything too crazy, but they still make a decent noise. One last thing, guys, before we talk about the price here, for the drivetrain, you're getting the SRAM Descendant cranks, you're getting a KMC chain, and back here, you've actually got a chain tensioner. No, it's not a derailleur, it's a chain tensioner designed to keep the chain nice and tight. So hopefully we didn't miss too many things there, guys, talking about the specs. There is one last thing though. I'm gonna look up right now how much this exact bike costs you to get today. Minus the pedals, I guess. You were looking at $4,127 Australian. Not bad. So now it's time for easily one of my favorite segments of the video, guys. We've got the scales out here. We're gonna weigh this thing and see how much it actually weighs. So for those of you who are new around here, yes, this is a weight scale, but it's meant for weighing your suitcases and stuff, but it doesn't matter. And what we do here is we weigh it 3 separate times, add them together, divide them by 3, so then we get a pretty somewhat accurate score. So let's jump right into it. Let's do it. Weight number 1. Hold it as still as possible. Boom. I'm gonna chuck that into the phone real quick. Okay, weight number 2. Okay, that's weight number 2 done. Chucking it back on for the 3rd and final time right here. Let's see what we come up with. Boom. Let's see. Divide it by 3 and we get, boom, 10.25 kilos, guys. There you go. I believe on the Canyon website it might be a little lighter, but you do have to remember these things got to come with pedals, you know, so the pedals definitely add a bit of weight. But pretty much 10 kilos flat is very impressive for this sort of bike. So now that we've covered the specs, price, and weight of the thing, what's left to do is the drop test, some tricks, and then we're gonna talk about what I like and dislike. So what we're gonna do is load the bike up in the car. We're gonna take it somewhere to ride. We're gonna drop test it first, get into the rest of the video. Let's do it. Okay, you guys now join me at the skate park, but before we ride around and get some tricks done, there's something we still gotta do, the drop test. All I'm gonna do, lift this bike up, drop it onto the ground 3 separate times, see what type of noise it makes, see how dialed it is. Let's get into it. Drop test number 1. We're scared. I just scared a bird out of the tree as well. Something might be loose. A little lower this time or not? No, we've got to keep it accurate. Oh no. Okay. 3rd and final time. Okay, it seems like it could probably be maybe a tiny bit more dialed. It wasn't too bad, I guess.
Just bouncy.
Wasn't too bad, very bouncy. You guys gotta remember that pressure in the tires is probably around 50 something PSI, absolutely insane. Or maybe the headset's a tiny bit loose. We're moving things right along. We're gonna get into some tricks now. Let's ride around this skate park, see what we can come up with. gloving up because it's freezing cold. First trick, I'm going to jump up onto this box at the back there, jump across, down the other side.
It was sketchy.
Sketchy, but it was first try and it's YouTube, so we're keeping things going. Up next, we've got this big block here. Gonna test the bunny hop skills. Let's see if we can get up it and do a trick off.
Let's go.
I don't know if we're taking that.
That was nice. I like it.
We got things to do. That's for the comment. I saw someone comment I should be doing more bar spins. That's for you. Now where though?
Imagine.
Look at the seat. My apologies guys for the random ending to that little street section skate park sesh right there. I did want to get a few more tricks done there. Unfortunately, we did run out of battery space, but the video is not over yet. I still have to tell you guys what I really enjoy about this bike, some positives, and what I don't like so much about this bike. Let's get into it. Something that I really enjoy about this bike has to be the extremely long brake cables. So what I mean by that is if I unravel my bars here guys, you will see that my rear brake cable is extremely long. It allows me to spin my bars around up to 3 times in one direction and then 3 times back and then 3 times the other way. So I can have 6 total spins of the bars if I feel like it. I do not need to do 6 spins of the bars ever, but it's a really nice option to have there. Up next, my second positive would have to be that the bike is just carbon fiber. I think it's a really cool thing to have. You might not need it, might not necessarily save a crazy amount of weight, but there is something cool about having a really chunky frame and a really nice fork, and apparently it's extremely strong. Another thing I'd like to touch on would have to be the length of the cranks guys. So from here to here is a really good distance. I believe they're 165 millimeters. On some of my other bikes they're 175s. So these ones being shorter allows me to do my tricks easier, I would say. So on some of the other bikes that I own where they're longer, when I'm trying bar spins and tricks like that, the tire can actually hit my foot because the cranks are so long. I never have that problem on this bike. With those shorter cranks, this bike feels very nimble, very trick worthy, more of like a street BMX type of bike. I really enjoy it for that fact. I could keep giving you guys positives all day about this bike, but that's not what this video is about. I am gonna now highlight a few of the negatives about owning this thing. One thing that is potentially a negative about the bike is that some of the components that come on it are maybe a little less lower of a standard than maybe they should be. So what I mean by that is the original chain that I got on my bike, actually before I elaborate on all this, they might have changed all this, and I think they have changed a lot of the features on this bike. But when I got this bike, the chain that came on this bike guys was not a chain that was really designed for this style of riding. So what I mean by that is it was more made for just your casual sort of everyday light pedaling bike. Obviously when you ride this bike you are putting a lot of tension on it, hopping around and all that, so you need a really strong chain. Unfortunately this bike did not come with one and I ended up paying the price. Unfortunately we didn't get it filmed, but I fell from about shoulder height when my chain snapped on me one day and I just went straight over the bars. That was a real shame that happened. So I did upgrade the chain, so that's no longer a worry. Also, a problem I did have, which again I believe they fixed now, the rotors that came on the bike were not these ones. I'll chuck in some old footage of what the rotors actually were, and they were actually made out of 2 separate pieces, a 2-piece rotor, which is again probably a rotor that is suited to another style of bike. This bike needs to stop on an absolute dime, so it needs these 1-piece rotors, so there is absolutely no movement. The rotors that came on the bike again were 2-piece, so they had little bits of sort of creaking and movement in between them. It didn't cause me any issues. They were quite annoying though, just with that little creaking noise. So I eventually upgraded to 1-piece rotors. Can't stress this enough. There's too many positives to list about this bike, guys. That is me just being really nitpicking. none of those things have really held me back. I absolutely love this bike. Easily one of my most favorite bikes in the collection. This bike is absolutely insane and it can do anything you want it to do. So I guess in conclusion, guys, if you're sitting at home watching this wondering if this style of bike is for you, whether it's worth the price and all that, all I can say is I definitely think you guys should go out and try one of these bikes for sure. This bike is absolutely insane for the money. For only $4,000, you're getting a full carbon fiber frame and fork, and you're getting an incredible bike that is capable of absolutely any street trials moves. I totally understand that $4,000 is quite the investment, rightfully so. So perhaps this bike may not be for you. There are definitely entry-level bikes from other brands that you can get into. And I would definitely like to touch on, guys, if you're thinking of getting into trials, you can do it on any style of bike. So if you're on your mountain bike, your dual suspension, your dirt bike, your BMX, absolutely any bike, you guys can get into trials. Perhaps save your money for now, start doing it on your own bike as well. The mountain bike, there's absolutely no excuses. Anything is possible on any bike. I hope this video covered everything that you wanted to know about this bike. If there's any questions, please drop them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them. Appreciate all the support as always. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye, Archie.
Let's go.